From McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, tonight, NESN proudly presents coverage of Red Sox minor league baseball. This evening, game one of a four-game set with the White Sox AAA affiliate in town, Paw Sox and the Charlotte Knights. Well, good evening, everybody. We welcome you here to McCoy, along with Will Fleming. I'm Josh Maurer. Normally the radio voices for the Paw Sox. We're happy to be with you on NESN tonight. Well, the AAA All-Star break, Will, has come and gone. As we get back to action a day earlier than those in the big leagues, things are going very well of late for Pawtucket.
It's certainly trending upward, Josh, and I think for the Paw Sox, that starts with the guys in the middle of the order. Chris Marrero had an unbelievable week in Durham and in Charlotte, and then he returned for the AAA All-Star game where he not only won the Home Run Derby, named the MVP of that International League win over the PCL Stars. Chris Dominguez right behind Marrero. The heart of the Paw Sox order is just firing on all cylinders. So you figure with some new arms, some new faces in the middle of the lineup for the Paw Sox, things really set up for a second half run.
And meanwhile, Will, there are some names that Red Sox fans are very familiar with who you very well might see tonight play in this game. How about Joe Kelly? He has joined the team as a reliever. Christian Vasquez, who's been recently optioned, he's going to be the catcher.
They may well be a battery tonight. And Kelly coming off that groin injury, Josh, he had a couple successful rehab stints in Lowell. John Farrell has been very open about the fact that Boston is hoping that Kelly is one of the internal answers to their bullpen conundrum. He has the stuff. He's got the durability. They want him to be a long man, Josh. They don't want him to be a one-inning type reliever. And we've seen him pitch here in Pawtucket. The electric arm certainly profiles to be a set-up long type reliever. And so Kelly and Vasquez going to be in there tonight.
And meanwhile, Justin Haley, a young right-hander, gets the ball from manager Kevin Bowles. It's the first game after the AAA All-Star break. And when we come back, we'll get you the lineups, then the first pitch. Thursday night here at McCoy. We're glad you're with us. More of Red Sox minor league baseball coming up next. Justin Haley begins his warm-up tosses as we welcome you back to McCoy Stadium. The All-Star break comes to an end, and we're going to have baseball tonight here in Pawtucket. The Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the White Sox, in town. And here is their lineup for manager Julio Vinas, Jacob May, big league veteran Jason Bourgeois is having a great year. Danny Muno, Jerry Sands with some pop in the middle of the order. Slade Heathcott is a former Yankees first-round pick. Jake Peter, Vinny Rotino, Tony Campana, and Marcus Lemon round out the starting nine. They'll all see this man, the 25-year-old out of Fresno State, Justin Haley, who is just about ready to work. This is going to be his fifth start at the AAA level. Haley has only faced two batters in about the last 2 weeks. So he is well rested, and he draws the starting assignment for manager Kevin Bowles coming out of the break. Jacob May, a speedster from the left. He leads it off, and we're underway at McCoy as Haley delivers a strike. Well, we're so glad you could be with us for our NESN and Paw Sox Radio Network simulcast. We're the radio voices of the Paw Sox. Josh Maurer along with Will Fleming. Strike two from Haley. Jacob May falls in a quick hole here. The left-handed batter with a ton of speed. One of the top prospects in the White Sox organization. This is the first of a four-game series. Haley's 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. A high fastball. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Jacob May. So a good start for Mr. Haley. Well, he didn't need any of these defenders behind him.
No, he's got a great defense behind him here this afternoon, especially in the outfield with the return of Ryan Lamar, Brennan Bosch, and Rusney Castillo flank him. And then on the infield, how about the return of Marco Hernandez? He and Devin Marrero, spectacular double play duo.
With one out, Jason Bourgeois looks at another strike. Well, Justin Haley not missing a beat. I mentioned how well rested he is. The last time that he really was in a game for more than an inning was the 3rd of the month. That's foul wide of first. Make it 0-2 and make it 5 consecutive strikes to begin the game. July the 3rd, Haley pitched in an extra inning marathon and he got the win. Gave up 1 run in the top of the 16th, and then his offense scored a pair in the bottom half to beat the Columbus Clippers. 0-2. Bourgeois backs away from a high fastball. First one out of the zone for the former 6th-round pick of the Red Sox in 2012.
You know, Josh, this is an interesting start for Haley because he was ostensibly in the bullpen for the Paw Sox. He pitched that long extra inning game to which you were referring, and then he had an abbreviated start on the last road trip, a 2-out start that was abbreviated by rain. So here he was stretched out. He threw 80 pitches one outing and then faced 2 hitters and threw 10 pitches the next. So somewhere in between is probably his number tonight, but the Paw Sox staff are going to really monitor this kid Haley and sort of adjust as they go.
Trying to check his swing, Bourgeois. The ball plucks the bat, and the count remains 2-2 on Jason Bourgeois. This guy, 34 years old. He's been in the big leagues with more than a handful of teams. He's hitting .350 since the White Sox acquired him and sent him here to Charlotte. Another 2-2. That's going to be on a hop at the shortstop. Devin Marrero takes care of Bourgeois. Perfect throw over to first, and a couple of quick outs for Haley. Got a 4-man umpiring crew working this one for the International League tonight. There's Ben May. He's a big league guy who's come down to join the crew that's Derek Malika's normally. Malika at first, Ryan Addison, and Jensen Visconti rounding out the 4-man umpiring crew. Well, it's very humid here. You see 91%. It feels it. Very pleasant mid-70-degree temperatures. A little bit of cloud cover, but no rain in the area. So with 2 out, Danny Muno takes a strike, and Haley is just attacking the zone. 0-1 pitch to Muno, the former Met farmhand. And the count evens at a ball and a strike from Haley. Began the year at Double-A Portland. His first 12 starts came with the Sea Dogs this year before getting promoted last month. Muno jammed, fouls it out of play, and again ahead in a count. 1-2 from Justin Haley.
Fastball, curveball, slider, and a change. He's got both the breaking balls, Josh. His last time out, the 6 1/3 he pitched in extra innings, he had just a tremendous curveball. And he has an improving changeup. But pounding the zone as he has is the whole key.
Muno hits it out of play, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We well remember his debut that he made in Louisville, right-hander, and we remember how many 0-2 counts he had. I mean, when he is ahead in the count, this can be a really dominant right-hander.
Opponents thus far are batting below 200 in the International League against Haley. They were batting barely above 200 at Double-A in the Eastern League. So for whatever reason, it's not overpowering stuff, but he just has not given up very many hits. 1-2 on Danny Muno, just signed by the White Sox at the beginning of this month. This is only his 10th game with Charlotte. 11 for 35. He's batting .314 with a homer. So Haley tries for a 1-2-3 first inning. Then he misses outside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The beginning of the unofficial second half of the season following this 3-day All-Star break. Of course, in the minor leagues, we begin 1 day before the big leaguers. I came inside and it just got a piece of Muno. Up around the forearms, and he is hit by a pitch. So Haley, who was ahead in the count, ends up losing him. And there's the first base runner of the contest.
A little bit of an unforced error. Didn't look like it got much of Muno there. Maybe right there on the left elbow. Clipped him, and that's an unforced error for Sands because, rather for Haley, because Sands is really probably the most feared hitter in terms of power. He has not done a lot from a batting average perspective since he was sent down from the big leagues, but this guy historically at the AAA level has been a real power threat.
Hitting just .175 in his 23 games since being outrighted by the White Sox. He's hit a couple of home runs. Will, he was up in Chicago for 24 games this year. So out of the stretch for the first time goes Justin Haley. And there's a first pitch fastball for strike 1. Paw Sox will play just 4 home games in a span out of 18. Just finished a 7-game road trip down south before the All-Star break. We're going to head out west after this weekend. Sands fouls it back, and it's 0-2. So tonight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the only 4 games in about a 3-week stretch. The Paw Sox will be here in the friendly confines of McCoy Stadium, and it's nice to be home.
It's good. I didn't even unpack the suitcase. Ready to head back out onto the road, but we've got an action-packed weekend here. While we are in town, lots happening here at McCoy Stadium.
Muno leads from first with 2 out. And the 0-2 is up and away. We'll talk a lot as our broadcast goes along about the upcoming promotions here. As the summer has come, we've had huge crowds and really fun atmospheres at McCoy. 1-2, and Sands swings through the fastball. 88 on the stadium radar gun to strike him out. A good start for Justin Haley. So Pawtucket coming to bat in a scoreless game. Charlotte did not score in the first, and they send Anthony Renato, a former Paw Sox standout, to the mound here at McCoy Stadium to face this lineup. Some familiar faces just back from the big leagues. Ryan Lamar and Marco Hernandez did the top two in the order. Henry Ramos had a great last couple of weeks before the All-Star break. Brennan Bosch coming back from a fractured wrist. He's in the middle of the order. Christian Vasquez, a week since he's been optioned. Jansen Whitty, Rusney Castillo, Devin Marrero, and Chris Dominguez round out the lineup against Mr. Renato. Here's Lamar. And Anthony starts him off with a fastball for strike one. Ryan Lamar out for about the last month from Pawtucket. That's because he was up in Boston helping out in the outfield for John Farrell. 0-2 the count as he goes hacking after a high fastball.
Renato coming off a couple shaky starts, Josh. Paw Sox and Red Sox fans very familiar with him. But he's been hit hard the last couple trips to the mound.
4-3 record overall. This is 12th start. That slowly hit towards first base. Renato, very athletic, pouncing on it off the hill. And he takes it himself. How about one unassisted? So there is one away. Let's take a look at the Charlotte defense behind the big tall right-hander.
Some pretty slick middle infielders behind Renato: Campana, May, and Bourgeois. Some veterans in the outfield. Danny Buno at third with Jerry Sands at first. Vinny Rotino, the battery mate for the right-hander Renato.
Anthony is 26 now. He was the Red Sox first-round pick in 2010. He made his big league debut at Fenway Park in August of 2014. So now with one out, we welcome back Marco Hernandez to Pawtucket. Ball one misses low on Marco, who was tearing the cover off the ball in the IL before he was called up to Boston, where he's been for a couple of months. You see the average .333 at the AAA level. Fouls that back. It's 1-1, and he was hitting, and when he got a chance anyway, producing for John Farrell. .295 in 29 major league games. Kind of the odd man out after some of those deals last week, most notably acquiring Aaron Hill, Michael Martinez. 1-1 pitch, and Marco fouls it straight back.
And I thought the instructive word, Josh, that the Red Sox used when they were describing those decisions was versatility. They want guys like Michael Martinez who can play a little bit in the outfield, particularly with some of the uncertainty as Brock Holt and Blake Swihart try to get back out there. But we have seen from Marco when he is at this level, he hits. He did that this year. He certainly did it in a stint with the Paw Sox last year. So you figure this is a big lift to the Pawtucket offense.
Last time he played for the Paw Sox was the 15th of May. On the ground, foul up the first base line. 1-2 on Hernandez. Anthony Renato ended up getting traded by the Red Sox over to the Texas Rangers, and that was in exchange for Robbie Ross. Ross, who ever since has been such a key part of the big league bullpen for Boston. There's the curveball, and it's squibbed foul. That was the pitch that helped Anthony to such a standout season in 2014. Not only did he make his big league debut that year, that was also the year in which he was the International League's most valuable pitcher. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That season for the Paw Sox, a year in which the team won the Governor's Cup championship. He won 14 games, 14-4. 2-2 just off the outside corner.
And you remember, Josh, that crop of young pitchers can't miss, it seemed like, for the Red Sox, whether it's Renato, Alan Webster, Ruby De La Rosa, who's now pitching with the D-backs. I mean, they were a bumper crop.
This is the kind of at-bat we became used to seeing from Hernandez, and it continues with a foul ball. When he was in Pawtucket for the first month, International League pitchers, Will, they just couldn't find a way to put him away even with 2 strikes on the count.
And I think we saw a maturation in Marco beginning in spring training. He was just tremendous in terms of the at-bats, the production. Really, he and Sam Travis, other than maybe Travis Shaw, were the stars of the spring.
Swing and a miss, a high fastball. So there's a strikeout and 2 away. Well, fans, you may remember this is the big league debut for Mr. Renato. August 1st, 2014. All he got to do was face the New York Yankees in his first big league action, and that right there was his first major league strikeout. How about Derek Jeter? Renato got a win that night, and what a thrill it was for the New Jersey native.
Just couldn't ask for a better debut.
Henry Ramos looks at a strike with 2 out and nobody on base. He ended up making 7 starts for Boston that season, and he won 4 of them.
You know, Josh, you often hear guys talk about when they go up to make their debut, the hardest part is sort of removing themselves from thinking, I've watched these guys for years on TV. You couldn't have anybody in the game for Renato to face that evokes that emotion more, and he handled it.
Off speed, the strikeout Ramos. Renato looking sharp with a couple of punch-outs here on a mound that he knows all too well. Scoreless after an inning. We're back to McCoy right after this.
It was an experience of a lifetime. I can't lie to you. It was probably one of the top things I've done in my career. From the home run derby to winning the MVP, it was spectacular. Man. The whole weekend was playing great. Charlotte came out, supported us. It was fun.
That was the top star for the International League at last night's AAA All-Star game. Paw Sox outfielder, infielder Chris Marrero. We're scoreless into the second here at McCoy in our simulcast on NESN and the Paw Sox radio network, and Slade Heathcott takes ball 1. Chris had quite the week at the Charlotte Knights home ballpark. They hosted that AAA All-Star game.
He did, Josh, and we saw him in that yard last week. He was on a hot streak for the ages, and he just carried it over into the Derby and into the All-Star game. We had a hunch he had a good shot in that Derby, but the way that he won it was absolutely tremendous. He needed 17 home runs to tie in the final 4-minute round. He hit 17 in the first 3 minutes, and then he launched the 18th to win the title. And then he hit a decisive home run and was the MVP in the actual game.
2 balls and 2 strikes on the former Yankee farmhand Slade Heathcott. Jake Peter and Vinny Rotino to follow against Justin Haley here in the second. The 2-2. Just missed on a fastball, and it's a full count on Heathcott. Playing in just his 7th game since joining this Charlotte team. Talk about what Chris Marrero did in that game last night. It was an 8th inning home run that cleared the center field fence. Swing and a miss. Fastball on the payoff pitch from Justin Haley, and he blew it on by him. About 3 strikeouts in the first 5 batters faced.
Well, and he's had pinpoint command of this pitch right here. He is just throwing it wherever he wants it, and he dots it on the outside black and blows it by Heathcott. And Josh, really, this is the Haley we saw in his debut in that extra innings outing. And he just looks totally aggressive in the zone.
Now Jake Peter, man who's played most of this season at AA for the White Sox. They've made a lot of roster changes with Charlotte over the past few weeks. What do you know, another strike 1. Peter hitting .277 in his 14 games. His first action at AAA, including a home run. On the ground, foul up the first base side, and Haley in front, 0-2. Chris Marrero, by the way, is getting a very well-deserved night off after a long day of travel. You see a lot of smiles on that face here of late for a guy who has put himself on the map. 0-2. Foul tipped into the mid of Vasquez. Make it 4 strikeouts for Justin Haley. What a fastball he's got going.
Yeah, this is country hardball from the right-hander Haley. He is just challenging these hitters, and they cannot catch up. And I think, Josh, the Paw Sox saw this from Charlotte when we were down there. They are one of these struggling offenses in the IL, and if you make your pitch, you're going to get a lot of swings like that from these Knights.
And now Vinny Rotino. You don't see many 36-year-old players in the International League, but here's one of them. Catcher who's been around the block a time or two. Haley just keeps pumping in strike one. Scoreless game here in the second inning. Yeah, you also wonder, as that pitch misses, how much does 3 days off affect a hitter as opposed to a pitcher? I think maybe it takes the batters a few innings, if not half a game, ready to get back into the full swing of things. Of course, they took batting practice today, but a lot of these guys have been kind of sitting by the pool, so to speak, since Sunday.
That's a good point. I mean, game speed is a very different thing, so perhaps the hitter's a touch behind. But I think Haley is making every pitch that he wants.
1-2. Chance to strike out the side for the right-hander. He does just that. The breaking ball to get Rotino. It's a stellar start for Justin Haley. Already 5 punch-outs, and we're scoreless into the bottom of the second inning. Well, we got a fun event coming to McCoy Stadium while the team is on the road next weekend. Saturday the 23rd, it's big-time wrestling. Well, we got some big names that are going to be here, too, for this event. 8 o'clock next Saturday night. Got Lex Luger. How about Matt Hardy? And we welcome on, this is the heavyweight champion of big-time wrestling in the booth with us.
Oh,
there he is. There's Flex.
Oh, there we are.
Flex Armstrong is in the booth.
That's right. That's right. Happy to be here, guys.
You've practiced that a time or two.
I've done it once or twice. That's how I got the name Flex.
I'm just glad I'm not in a headlock right now.
Not yet. Interview's not over, my friend.
We promise to behave. Flex, thanks for coming by. Tell us about, first of all, this event that's coming up at McCoy Stadium. It's a week from Saturday night. You're going to bring a whole bunch of friends with you, huh?
Oh, absolutely. We're very excited about it. We love coming to the outdoor stadiums. Last year we went to Citi Field where the Mets play, obviously, but coming home here, the Red Sox organization, we're pumped about it. We're really excited to be part of the Paw Sox, and yeah, we're bringing a loaded lineup full of hard-hitting wrestling action for us.
So you currently hold the championship belt.
I've had it for 4 years, man. 4 years, and I'm not giving it up.
How far and wide do you guys travel?
Oh, we're all.
It's
I mean,
quite the schedule.
Oh yeah. I mean, I won the belt 4 years ago out in California, and we travel the East Coast pretty good all over the place. That's why it's a big deal for us to come home into New England and be part of the Red Sox organization here and putting on a show for the fans. So it's a big deal for us, and being a huge baseball fan myself, I'm very excited about it.
One out here in the bottom of the second. Brendan Bosch popped out. Now Christian Vasquez at the plate as we visit with Flex Armstrong.
Is there a lot of trash talking between you and your competitors, all these challengers for the belt?
Oh yeah, man. It's that's what it is. There's there's a camaraderie in it as well. But yeah, there's a lot of trash talk. I mean, especially with me. I'm the top dog, man. People want my spot.
Come get me.
People want the gold, so they get a lot to say, and it's my job to shut their mouth. So that's what I welcome.
0-2 on Vasquez. Give us a primer, especially for those who aren't too familiar. Tell us about big-time wrestling and the organization.
Big-time wrestling is huge. I mean, of course, everybody's familiar with the big dogs that you see on TV and then, the WWE and whatnot. But, I mean, big-time wrestling brings everything that you want as a wrestling fan. Quality wrestling at its top level. But you'll see the guys that you grew up seeing on TV as well. So it has the legends aspect to it as well. So no matter who you are, you're a fan of wrestling of old or a fan of wrestling of new, we have something for you. But not just that. I mean, I'm not saying this because it's my organization. I'm not saying it because I'm the heavyweight champion. But Big Time Wrestling puts on the best wrestling production if you are a pure wrestling fan in the business right now. So, I mean, I have no problem saying that. Yeah, throw it right at me. I'll stand by that statement any day of the week.
All right. Jansen Whitty bats after a ground out by Vasquez. So Anthony Renato with 2 out in the inning on our NESN simulcast. Josh and Will here in the booth. Go ahead.
This is good. I want to see. I hope he gets on. I want to see Castillo bat. This is a big deal for me. Big, like I said, big Sox fan. I'd like to see Castillo put one out of the park here, if he can get up.
He sits in the on-deck circle as Whitty gets ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes against Mr. Renato. Where'd you grow up?
Massachusetts native, not too far outside of Boston, in Billerica, born and raised. Still there, so being a Red Sox fan was part of my upbringing. So this is cool.
Did you play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but if I'm looking at the walls here, I could put one out here pretty easy.
We know some people. We might be able to set up maybe a little batting practice before the event.
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm not just saying it, man. I got some stroke in these arms, bud. You hang one, I'm going to put it over the fence every single time. I'll tell you that. They don't call me the champ for nothing, bro.
And we don't doubt it. 2-2 on Whitty.
I mean, this guy doesn't look like he's throwing too hard. I don't know why these guys aren't raking this thing.
Softly hit back to the pitcher's mound, and Renato takes care of Jansen Whitty.
And not for nothing, I would have ran that out, bud. I would have had a single. Telling you, I'd be sitting on first base right now. We'll swipe second.
Next Saturday, we'll see you here. Thanks so much for coming by. 0-0 into the third. Later this homestand Sunday, the Paw Sox will be giving away 3,000 of these beautiful full-color posters of former Paw Sox who made the American League All-Star team. Stephen Wright, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley, all out in San Diego earlier this week. You get a great poster Sunday. That's a 1:05 game. Compliments of Barrington Printing. That'll be the finale of this 4-game series. Well, after 2 quick ones, this game is scoreless, and for the play-by-play here in the third, here's my partner, Will Fleming.
Thanks so much, Josh. 0-1 to Tony Campana. Justin Haley has been the story of the night. His 0-1 is a little bit low. Campana comes into this ball game, struggling hitter, 226 from the left side. Jansen Whitty thinking he may well bunt. Haley struck out the side in the second. He's got 5 punch-outs in the first 2 innings. Pop down the left field line. Bosch has a play on it, and Justin Haley's roll continues. That was fun with Flex Armstrong. I'm just happy I didn't get suplexed here in the booth. So 1 down. Here comes Marcus Lemon.
You know, I don't doubt his claim that he could hit one over the fence here at McCoy. Got to take a look at some of those biceps that he had.
He oozes bravado, that's for sure, as Marcus Lemon stands in.
You don't get the nickname Flex for nothing.
I guess not. Lemon is really scuffling at this level. He takes yet another strike from the right-hander Haley, who is pumping fastball after fastball into the zone. Pitchers have dominated to this point. The 0-1, look out. Lemon loses the bat on a swing through. And it's 0-2. Will Fleming and Josh Mauer thrilled to be on NESN and throughout our radio network. Been a great thing, these simulcasts. Day before the Red Sox get back to it. Come at you from McCoy. Looking forward to those posters, as the pipeline is certainly primed, Josh, as guys who not just have Paw Sox history, but if you think back 12 months ago, this time of year, Stephen Wright was a starter for the Paw Sox. Jackie Bradley was just coming out of an all-star appearance at the AAA level himself. He was completely dominant here in Pawtucket, and look what has happened 1 year later. The 0-2 pitch fouled off on the third base side.
Goes to show you, really, if you come to McCoy Stadium on a lot of nights, you might just be looking out on the field at the next crop of guys who are going to make a huge impact up in Boston. It is not distant memory that we've seen those guys here in Paw Sox uniforms, and look at the transformation that they've made in their careers.
0-2 just missed from Haley. And Josh, I think one of the really neat things about those two, Bradley and Wright in particular, among the litany of Paw Sox that have made it to Boston and had an impact, is the 1-2. There's the first hit of the ball game for the Knights, as Lemon just looped it inside the third base line. But both Bradley and Stephen Wright, I think, such a symptom and a symbol of appreciating how far they've come. I mean, all the stories from San Diego, Wright and Bradley, they had their families there. They were really soaking in that all-star experience. And I think, Josh, their careers, their AAA time, made it that much more special for them.
They're both guys that have had to go up and back. Jackie Bradley 2 years ago was supposed to be the guy. Starting 2014, it did not work. He had a really rough year and ended up having to come back to AAA. I think having been up and then back here makes you appreciate the success all that more. Stephen Wright, kind of a similar thing. Look, Stephen was right in that shuttle. He knew the route up 95 45 miles up to Fenway here from Pawtucket. He knew it about as well as anybody.
There's a guy who almost retired a couple seasons ago. The 1-0 to the leadoff man, Jacob May. That misses, and so for the first time out of the stretch since the first inning, Haley falls behind a hitter 2-0. I thought Jackie's agent, Scott Boras, had some really interesting comments about his conversations with JBJ a year ago, as the Red Sox insisted to him that they were not going to move him, even though the Tigers and others were kicking the tires, thinking about trades, as Haley misses down and in, and it's 3-0. Scott Boras said, I would talk to Jackie all the time and tell him, look, I hear from Major League scouts. They know you're a big league player. And Jackie said to Scott, that's not news to me. I know that. I just need to get up there and get a prolonged chance. And he has gotten that opportunity, and he is flourishing in Boston. There's a strike from Haley, 3-1.
You know, as you hear rumors about trades, not just from the Red Sox, but really any organization that goes into buyer's mode, there is always that caveat. Keep it in the back of your mind. Are you selling a guy that could become a Jackie Bradley?
Swing and a foul. In fact, Dave Dombrowski was a guy who really inquired about Jackie last year from the Tigers. He loved the defense, and they thought that Jackie could become the player that he has. And of course, we're not blind to the fact that there are some rumors swirling around today, some reports that the Red Sox have indeed made yet another move. The Red Sox will not confirm anything until medicals are cleared, but perhaps some big news. The runner goes as the 3-2 is fouled off by May into the seats, and we'll do it again, 3-2.
Well, it's no secret Dave Dombrowski has turned his attention pretty much exclusively to starting pitching. After last week's flurry of moves, they shore up the infield with Aaron Hill, get a utility guy, Michael Martinez, and then by adding Brad Ziegler, they think that they've shored up the bullpen, at least for now. As long as Kimbrel is on the shelf, and now Tazawa goes on the disabled list, they really needed him.
Runner goes again, and another foul.
But Dombrowski has said, look, now the only thing really left on the list, we got to get a starting pitcher or two. There are reports that he may be doing just that, kind of as we speak.
And that is what makes that job so difficult. The idea that here we are in David Ortiz's last year, the Red Sox have a prolific offense, and they feel like they can make a legitimate run, not just at a playoff berth, but at a World Series. And you got to give pieces to get them back. As Haley steps off, and you mentioned this, Josh, that is what makes that job so difficult. It is tough to project what say an 18, 19-year-old kid may well be. Get a known commodity back and make a run for it. And a payoff pitch, and you guessed it, another foul. A battle here for May. So, Josh, the second time through, we talked about this at the outset of the broadcast. Haley is in a really different spot tonight because he was put into the bullpen. The Paw Sox played a 16-inning game here in which Haley went 6 innings. Then his next start, down on the southern swing, he faced 2 hitters before the heavens opened up in Durham. That night he only threw 10 pitches, so the Paw Sox really going to monitor him. And it looks like here this second time through, perhaps there are some small signs of fatigue. He is not getting the swings and misses he did the first time through, and I think from that Pawtucket dugout they're going to keep a mindful eye on the right-hander.
This is a very good at bat by Jacob May, doing just that, fouling off all these fastballs. 3-2. Marcus Lemon at first base is getting a night's worth of calisthenics and sprints in, back and forth each pitch here. 3-2 running.
There's another payoff. Another foul. That's the 12th pitch of the at bat, and May is really on a hot and muggy night, forcing Haley to labor on the mound here.
I was talking about Lemon, who's running at first base on every one of these payoff pitches. He's got a huge smile on his face now.
He and Chris Dominguez having a fun time with that. Get right back into post All-Star break shape. Haley would love to get one on the ground to Marrero or Hernandez. Get out of this inning. Check in on the run. Over first. That's a little more work for Lemon.
You know, we're talking about the rumors of a potential Red Sox trade. The one piece of fairly big news that has been officially announced I alluded to it. Junichi Tozawa has been placed on the DL. He has that shoulder problem and hasn't cleared up.
Another foul ball. And William Cuevas was called up to fill that void. And Josh, it's really interesting because it sort of pertains to what we discussed in our open about Joe Kelly rejoining the Paw Sox. Dombrowski and Farrell want long relievers. They don't just want one-inning guys. They want that from Kelly. And now Cuevas, the last couple times he's gone up, it's for that purpose, to be able to give the pen a little bit of length. And William, his last 2 times out in Texas, was very effective out of the bullpen. This is a protracted battle, as that is a line drive into left field, a base hit. May wins the battle with Haley, and the Knights have something going here in the 3rd.
This was the 12th pitch of the at-bat. And you know the old saying is, the more a long battle like that goes on, the advantage shifts from the pitcher to the hitter. He's seen everything that the pitcher has in his repertoire. That time May gets a fastball on the outer half and just goes right with it. Lines it out of the reach of Whitty, and Lemon only able to advance up to second base.
52 pitches overall for Haley. Back-to-back hits. The first 2 of the night for Charlotte as Bourgeois stands in. And this is something to watch closely. The one thing about the situation the Paw Sox are in tonight, with Haley sort of in between roles, is that coming out of that 3-day All-Star break, their bullpen is chock full. They've got everybody available and ready. But they certainly would like Haley to get them as many more outs as he possibly can. There's Bourgeois, who grounded out to short his first time. There's another hit, and that is going to give the Knights a lead. Bosch picks it up in foul ground as Lemon comes home to score. It's an RBI double for Bourgeois. 3 in a row for the Knights, and they lead it 1-0.
It's really as if these Charlotte hitters saw so many first pitch fastballs the first time through the order. They made that adjustment. That's actually the breaking ball there to Bourgeois. And he knew he'd get a strike, and he sat, lined it into left field. Bourgeois, who's 34 years old now, he has proven time and again that at this level he is a very, very good hitter.
So Haley had sent down 5 in a row, now 3 straight knocks, and real trouble here in the 3rd. Danny Muno digs in, and Haley misses upstairs with ball 1.
You were talking about William Cuevas going up back to Boston for a 3rd time this year, a starter. That's what he's been his whole time in the minor leagues. So he can give John Farrell multiple innings if and when he's called upon.
No, lofted into left field. A long run for Bosch. He's not going to get it. It falls fair. May was holding at 3rd. He will scamper home and score. And on a bloop base hit from Danny Muno, the Knights have doubled their lead.
It's just a good piece of hitting here by Danny Muno. Pitch in on the hands, and he's able to fight it. Just bloops in front of the left fielder and fair by maybe a foot or 2 inside that chalk. So the previous hits had been very well struck. That was certainly not the case, but Muno finds a spot. He's got an RBI. A chance for a lot more in the inning here for this Charlotte offense that still only has 1 out.
What's really interesting about that play, Josh, is Bourgeois, the base runner at second base, had a better read on it than did May over there at 3rd. I think Bourgeois had a real chance to score had May not been waiting at 3rd. Bourgeois not wanting to pass the base runner on the Pats, and so he stands on 3rd, but he saw that all the way. Had May broken for home on that little blooper, I think that scores a pair.
Just playing it cautiously there in case Bosch was able to somehow make the catch. Then in that scenario, Jacob May would have been able to tag up, which I'm sure is why he thought it was prudent to go back to the bag.
So here's Sands with runners at the corners, 2 in on 4 straight hits. Haley laboring. Here's a swing and a foul back. That was a big rip from Jerry Sands, and he thinks he had a pitch to hit there.
Just think about the Boston bullpen and how much transition has happened even over the past week. Losing Kimbrel, losing Tozawa, adding a guy like Ziegler. William Cuevas goes up today. Koji into the closer's role.
Excuse me, foul on the first base side, and Hanley's ahead of Sands 0-2.
It's amazing how different innings, let's say 7, 8, and 9 look, as the Red Sox head to the Bronx tomorrow, than they did just 7 days ago.
And I think that puts even more onus on somebody like Joe Kelly to get right, to get back to Boston. This is the time of year, as the deadline looms, that bullpen help can be extremely expensive. 0-2 could be 2. With the second for 1. Marrero, what a turn! That limits the damage. It's as good as you can do it from Devin Marrero. However, the Knights get a pair. After 2.5, they lead the Paw Sox 2-0. Here at McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, you will see pyrotechnics displays, the likes of which you will not believe. We promise, as good as there are anywhere in the minor leagues. You've only got 4 more opportunities to see them this summer, including tomorrow night, right here at 7:05. That's an 80s themed fireworks show, and Josh, the sky will be alight here at McCoy.
We're going to get our long hair, our jean jackets, our leather jackets, and listen to Poison, Def Leppard, and enjoy some great fireworks after the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be living on a prayer as Rusney Castillo takes a strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Castillo, 233 on the season, a couple of home runs. He takes high from Anthony Renato. A couple former teammates. It's 1-1. Rusney has scuffled since he returned from the big leagues. Castillo has had glimpses of brilliance, particularly defensively, but overall Rusney has not swung the bat all that well. Trying to get his feet beneath him. 2-1 from Renato. What a big double play that was to end things in the top of the third. Keep it a 2-run game. That's a strike from Renato. It's 2-2.
It was so well turned by, as you said, Devin Marrero at short. But the flip that Marco Hernandez, the second baseman, fed him, it was a long kind of sidearm sideways flip.
High chopper on the right side into right field. That's a base hit. Nice piece of hitting for Rusney. Yeah, it was like leading a wide receiver on a post pattern. It was beautifully turned.
This is it. Remember, there's a runner at third here, so if the Paw Sox do not get 2 outs, the third run scores. The lead flip from Marco, and Devin Marrero is about as adept as they get, knowing where he is in relation to the bag. He's got that great feel for turning a double play.
And Haley knew just how important that was. So a chance to get right back into this thing as Mr. Marrero stands in. He takes a fastball for a strike. It's so tough to do that as Marrero was lunging toward the bag, made that backhand grab and just gracefully across the bag to complete the twin killer. Rusney this season with the Paw Sox has 6 steals in as many chances. He has picked his spots well over them. Marrero's been in a slump at the plate, but he breaks out here with a line drive into center field. Castillo will hold at second. They throw behind. Rusney back in there. Back-to-back hits for the Paw Sox here in the third.
That was the best swing we've seen thus far against Renato. Smoked into center here for Devin. It's just a fastball that's cutting in towards the hands. Able to get the bat level with it. The hit that Rusney had just found a good spot. He didn't get exactly a great piece of the ball. That one. A clean, hard line drive to put the tying runners on base.
Devin's all smiles over at first. He had been 6 for 40 since returning from Boston. It is amazing what just 3 days off can do for these ball players. As Chris Dominguez, who's been on a tear, stands in. He takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. 0-1. If it weren't for Chris Marrero, the Paw Sox all-star, who's not in the lineup tonight, this guy Chris Dominguez would be a much bigger story. He was on a tear over the last week. Home run binge, 4 homers in his last 10. This is a chopper to third. It is gobbled up over there by Muno. The turn is made, a double play for the Knights. Paw Sox had a brilliant opportunity here in this third, but that is a twin killer that gets Renato a big pair of outs.
Well, Dominguez not the fleetest of foot. This is a really good job by Muno, and especially there Jake Peter, second baseman, with a quick catch and then release. It's the key to getting that second runner. Dominguez out by half a step.
We've been talking all night long about some rumors about big deals for the Boston Red Sox. A man who's been in that room, made those tough decisions, Larry Lucchino. He's going to join us in the top half of the fourth inning. To discuss here with the Paw Sox going into the second half as Ryan Lamar, batting for the second time, takes a breaking ball outside for ball one. 2-0 Charlotte here with 2 down in the bottom of the third. Lamar, little comebacker, his first time. Misses inside. Ball 2.
Ryan stay up in the big leagues with Boston. About 3 weeks. It was really highlighted by a pitching appearance. Pitched a scoreless inning at Fenway Park in an emergency role.
Probably not how he envisioned it going, but he was a real valuable piece. Pinch ran late in games. He did get some opportunities to pinch hit. Did not see a whole lot of the field in his stint. Cleared waivers and back with the Paw Sox. 3 balls and no strikes. Lamar taking all the way. That's a fastball right there. 3-1. But Josh, with this outfield tonight, Lamar, Bosch, and Castillo, once it was announced that Rusney was not going to be the everyday left fielder for Boston, this is the outfield before the Bosch injury we thought we'd see for a lot of the first part of the AAA season. Lamar can really go get it in the outfield. He takes outside, ball 4. Good AB from Lamar, and that sets the table for Marco Hernandez.
And Renato has been working pretty much exclusively ahead of hitters. Even with that walk, of his 39 pitches, 28 have been strikes. So that's how in the zone he's been. Kind of a surprising lapse of command there. The 5-pitch walk to Ryan Lamar, and that brings up a really tough out in Marco Hernandez with a couple of runners aboard.
Marco struck out his first time, but dangerous for sure. 2 down with runners at the corners. Pretty good night to be a left-handed hitter with wind blowing out to right. Marco takes a strike. It's 0-1. Well,
there's one of the guys that the Red Sox have used in their outfield this year. Rusney at third. Lamar, he's in that category. You mentioned Brennan Bosch, who's now in Pawtucket. You get the feeling that Bosch would have had his chance up at the big league level had he not fractured his wrist. Been a revolving door in left field.
Bryce Brentz has been very good as the 0-1 is fouled off. Bryce, once he came back from the DL, spent a bunch of time here in Pawtucket. He has gotten his opportunity, has Brentz. Boy, is he hit. 0-2 to Marco Hernandez.
And as the Red Sox wait on the injuries to both Chris Young and Blake Swihart, it looks like they feel pretty set in the outfield with Holt and with Brentz.
Foul on the third base side off the netting and remains 0-2. And I think Josh Bryce has made them feel more comfortable. The way he's swung the bat up there, he's made diving catches. We know he can be such a good defensive outfielder. He says that the sight lines, the lighting, makes it so much easier for him to see the baseball, and Bryce has really been a revelation up in the big leagues, getting his opportunity and making the most of it. High chopper. What a play by Jerry Sands. He robs Hernandez, races to the bag, and that is the inning. Paw Sox leave a pair. Larry Lucchino will join us after this. 2-0 Charlotte leads Pawtucket. Well, the first 5,000 fans to enter McCoy Stadium this Saturday, July 16th. Get this great Paw Sox replica number 50 team jerseys. Charlotte Knights will still be in town. It's a 6:05 start. Come out, get that beautiful replica. Visit pawsox.com for more info.
Saw a picture that Paw Sox had out on social media of Mookie Betts posing with that replica jersey of his number 50. It's a cool keepsake if you get here early on Saturday.
Slade Heathcott takes ball one. We are thrilled to be part of this NESN and Paw Sox radio network simulcast. We owe you a station ID. We'll get you that in a moment as Heathcott takes low 2-0. So with that, let's pause 10 seconds on the radio side for station ID in the Paw Sox radio network. Heathcott pops the 2-0 pitch into center field for a base hit as we get underway in the top of the fourth, and it is a thrill to be joined by Larry Lucchino, the Paw Sox team chairman, the longtime executive with the Boston Red Sox. Larry, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Will. Nice to be here.
Larry, there's so much to talk about out of the All-Star break. We just showed the replica jersey we're going to give away. We've got 80s themed fireworks. A lot going on here as we make the turn to the second half.
Yes, and today I look at tonight as the beginning, of course, of the second half, even though technically we've probably played a few more than half the games already. But this weekend really signals the, pardon the expression, kickoff of the second half. And there's a lot of activity going on. Fireworks on Friday night, which is going to become a staple of ours. And I think Mookie jerseys are being given away on Saturday. And we have posters, free posters of the AL All-Stars who have Pawtucket genes or history. And that's Mookie and Bradley and Betts and Stephen Wright.
That's it.
So there, come on down. I was saying someone that takes me about 45 minutes to come down from my place in Brookline, and it's fun. It's a fun experience.
1-1 to Jake Peter, misses outside 2-1. Larry Lucchino, the Paw Sox chairman, joins us. Larry, as you talk about all those promos, there's been such a concerted effort here at McCoy to reinvigorate, to engage with the fans. We've seen some real signs of that. The fans have had a ball out here at McCoy as we're into the summer months. Feels like there is a real energy here at the ballpark.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I certainly sense it. And now that the weather's gotten warmer and the sun comes out and we have some reliable weather, it's really shown in the increase in attendance here at the ballpark here at McCoy. And we're very pleased about that. Listen, we got off to a rough start last year because of our ballpark ideas and plans with respect to Providence. But we are here doing a reset and trying to determine if a ballpark can and should be built. And that is the task, and actually everything else with respect to new ballparks is put on the back burner. We're just trying to do a good job with the operation of this franchise.
Foul off at a 3-2 pitch as the runner went.
And Larry, give us an update on the status of the bid process that's going out. You're looking for architects and different firms to do a study, basically, to figure out what and how much it would cost to do here at McCoy Stadium.
Well,
right?
Exactly. I think that it's incumbent upon us, the city and the state, to work together. And that is what we're doing and have been doing for the last several months. And part of that effort is to select an architectural firm that can study McCoy and determine what's good and bad, what's needed, what's necessary to bring it to comparability with other AAA facilities. She's a beautiful old ballpark, and she's been here for 74 years. She's done her job in many ways, but she does need to someone needs to look at it objectively and make some determination as to what kind of improvements would be required to give her an even longer life, if that's feasible or practical.
Ball 4 to Peter. Now 2-on with nobody out here in the top of the fourth for Vinny Rotina. Larry Lucchino joins us here as Haley, laboring a little bit, misses outside. Vasquez a back pick, but diving back in was Peter. Larry, look, you have a big platform here tonight. We've heard you say this to sponsors and to fans here at Pawtucket. You have been involved in some of the great ballpark projects in America. Camden Yards, Petco, which just opened and hosted the All-Star game, JetBlue. Can you just talk about, from your experience, what these ballparks can do to a community?
Well, certainly in my experience, there's
line drive to right field. Charging in is Castillo, one down.
In my experience, they've been win-win propositions. They have been good for the civic community or the state or the county who has been whatever state instrumentality has been involved, and they've been good for the ball club, and they have been good for the economic development of the area. And I know some people debate that issue. I can just tell you, it worked in Baltimore, it worked in San Diego. Look at the restoration of Fenway Park and what's happening in the Fenway area. I just think that it is it can be, if done right in the right place, it can be an important catalyst for economic development and certainly add something to the quality of the experience. Whoa.
Kickoff play was on just a little bit late as they almost got behind Slade Heathcott as Tony Campana digs in with one down here in this fourth inning.
You know, I listened to you talk about the benefits of a ballpark, and I can only imagine how much pride you must have taken in watching the All-Star festivities in San Diego this week. Tell us what that was like.
Well, I mean, I couldn't go because I had a commitment to give a speech. It was a kind of a eulogy, and so I didn't go to the game, but I was able to watch every minute of it from my spot in Colorado, and I thought it was. And I talked to several of the Padre officials. It was a 10th strike. It was a grand slam. It was just a very successful event. That part of San Diego was really an undeveloped kind of homeless area. It was an area where homeless folks congregated, and now it's. We suggested when we built the ballpark there that there might be $500 million of private investment in buildings and activities that would go on around that ballpark. At last count, there were $4.8 billion in investments in that area. So the tax base improved, the hotel activity included, the restaurant life included, the vitality of the area just changed dramatically.
That gas lamp is a destination. Tony Campana was hit by a pitch, it turns out. Kevin Bowles came out to argue. Here's a ground ball to second. Marco Hernandez for one, back to first. In time, double play. And the inning comes to a close. Larry, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you guys for doing this game as well. It's important to us that we reach out to Boston and to the western suburbs and regionalize this team, and so that we can share the sort of fun and family environment and affordability.
We head to the bottom of the fourth. Thanks, Larry. 2-0 Charlotte leads Pawtucket. Paw Sox are pleased to present Xander Bogaerts bobblehead all night right here at McCoy on Saturday, July 30th. We'll take on the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders that night at 6:05. First 3,000 fans get this collector's edition bobblehead of Bogey. Compliments of Bristol County Savings Bank. WEEI-FM. Visit pawsox.com for more info. That's a pretty slick looking bobble.
If you want some good bobbleheads, we do them right here at McCoy Stadium. They've had some great keepsake bobbleheads over the years. I know you've got a big collection in your home.
Oh yeah,
all the bobbleheads.
They all go west to my nephew. He's way in. We've had some great ones already this year. I love the Wade Boggs bobble. The 1-0 to Henry Ramos is a fastball that misses down and in 2-0. Well, great of Larry Lucchino to come on and join us. And Josh, he echoed so much of what he's said to the fans and faithful here. There is a real good faith effort to find out whether McCoy Stadium is the long-term home of the Paw Sox. And Larry and the management here, as Ramos swings through a fastball 2-1, they want what's best for the club and the fans. And they have invested a lot of time and resources into investigating that, researching that, and it's an ongoing process. Ramos struck out his first time. And here he lobs one into shallow right field. Back on it, Peter. In comes Bourgeois, and it'll be Jason Bourgeois to make the play.
The one thing that Larry has time and again said, this is not going to be a quick decision. Won't be probably until the fall that the firm that's going to do the survey of McCoy is even selected and announced. Then you put in the process of going through the necessary inspections, checking, looking what needs to be upgraded, what needs to be overhauled.
Here's Brendan Bosch. He takes a ball up and in.
Of course, what are the costs associated with those improvements needed, and then you figure it out from there. But it's not going to be something that's done just kind of haphazardly by this ownership group.
No, these gentlemen have done this before. And again, you could argue that Larry is the best ever at doing it. So the club and its ballpark future are in good hands. It is 1-0 to Brendan Bosch with one down here in the bottom of the fourth. And I think, Josh, the road trip that we just completed from Durham to Charlotte going into the All-Star break is so instructive as to what a ballpark can be for a AAA city. As Bosch takes a strike, we see them all the time in our league, whether it's those two or the downtown ballpark in Columbus or Indianapolis. I think some folks may say, well, it's different whether it's a big league club or not. We have seen it. You can revitalize an entire town with these ballparks. Bosch takes the ball inside, 2-1.
The International League has become kind of a blueprint for that with some of the ballparks you mentioned in the South and the West, especially. Here's some gems.
Bosch drives one down the left field line, and it is off the wall, a fair ball. Bosch will cruise into second as Campana plays the carom. Bosch just missed a home run by about a foot. It stayed inside that line, and Brendan Bosch plays a little wall ball with one out here in the fourth.
Well, you got to have some magic hands as a left-handed batter to hit the ball to that spot and not have it slice foul. See it, and hands perhaps being an operative word for Bosch, coming off of a broken hand. Able to keep that just inside the yellow line, but unfortunately just underneath that short fence.
I might have been overstating it when he missed it by a foot. That was inches from going over that short wall in left. Here's Vasquez. Renato throws. These two have plenty of history. I always love these matchups between guys who've been battery mates in the past. The guessing game, the chess match between a catcher and a guy he used to work with from behind the plate. So Renato, who retired Vasquez on a ground ball to short, edges ahead, 0-1. Here's a ground ball to the right side. The second baseman Peter gloves and throws to first in time to get Vasquez. Off the bat, that looked like it might get the Paw Sox a run, but great range there by Peter. That's a big second out.
Jake Peters looked really good at second base tonight. Turned a very nice double play last inning. This is a good hard 10 steps to his left to get to that. Very, very familiar inside out opposite field swing for Christian Vasquez.
Now here's Jansen Whitty. Vasquez has been such a great defensive addition to this Paw Sox club. And he's worked a lot with the Paw Sox staff as Whitty takes a pitch high and away, ball one. Kevin Bowles very invested in Vasquez. Those two have a deep and long rapport going back to Christian's first time through Pawtucket. We're going to hear from the skipper, Kevin Bowles, in the next half inning. We'll talk to him about Vasquez and Kelly, a lot of the things that the Paw Sox have in front of them coming out of the All-Star break. 1-0 to Whitty. He takes a strike, 1-1. Kevin Bowles has skippered the Paw Sox to a Governor's Cup championship in his first year at the helm 2 seasons ago. And who knows, with all the additions to the roster, a couple big names one level below in Portland, you never do know what this Paw Sox club could be capable of in this so-called second half. The 1-1 misses to Whitty, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And in that season 2014, Renato, who's on the mound tonight for Charlotte, was his ace. It was about this time of the year too where the Paw Sox just caught fire. And about after the All-Star break, and they played as well as you can play for 2 months en route to a championship.
Foul ball and a 2-1, and of course the additions of Owens and Swihart and Castillo didn't hurt in that quest as the Paw Sox just got red hot.
The biggest one too was a fella who's currently playing right field in Fenway every night, Mookie Betts. Came up to Pawtucket. The Paw Sox played about 800 baseball for the month or so that he was in their order, and a very quick stay before he made his way up to the big leagues.
You could see it coming from Mookie. 2-2 to Whitty. Breaking ball in the dirt. Nice stop. Might have saved a run there for Rotino. That's what's so fun about this level, Josh, is playing the game. Names like Benintendi and Moncada. Stars down at Double-A. Moncada starred in the Futures game. When will they come through Pawtucket? When can the folks here at McCoy expect to see those two on their way to the big leagues? They are two of the very brightest stars in the whole sport. 3-2 to Whitty. Breaking ball fouled back. Martino could not hang on, and Whitty stays alive.
You mentioned those two names. The reports that you read tonight say that a fellow named Anderson Espinosa, who's 18 years old, pitching in A-ball, would be the guy that could be going back in the big trade piece with San Diego. Now, again, that's a report. Espinosa, in so many organizations, would be the #1 prospect. Here he is in the Red Sox organization, kind of looked at as a third fiddle.
No question about that. Another 3-2 to Whitty is called strike 3. Whitty rung up, and that is that in the 4th. A double from Bosch, but the Paw Sox cannot bring him home. After 4 at McCoy, 2-0 Charlotte. We'll talk to Kevin Bowles when we return after this on
Charlotte, a 2-0 lead after 4 innings tonight. First game back from the All-Star break. The Paw Sox have Justin Haley back on the mound. This is our NESN and Paw Sox Radio Network simulcast. With Will Fleming, I'm Josh Maurer. It's our pleasure to welcome on live in the dugout the Paw Sox skipper. Manager Kevin Bowles is on with us. And hey, Kevin, you've got some pretty fun new names on the roster as we come back from the All-Star break. Yeah. Guys like Joe Kelly, Marco Hernandez, Ryan Lamar. Was it kind of an interesting day to come back and fill out some names that we haven't seen for a while on your lineup card?
Yeah, we've been excited for these guys because they've gotten an opportunity at the major league level. But obviously they're back here, and so it's back to work. And we got to do what we got to do to get them back to the major leagues.
Leading off here in the top of the 5th, Jacob May against Haley, who gave up the 2 runs in the 3rd. The count goes to 2-0. What are you seeing so far from Mr. Haley tonight?
I think the fastball's playing up. He's doing a terrific job. May, credit to him, his second at bat, he fouled off a bunch of pitches. It was a bunch of paper cuts, and definitely had to make Justin work a little bit. But I think overall, as you can tell with both pitchers, their fastballs are playing up. The timing's been off a little bit for the hitters, but I think Haley's doing a terrific job. He's attacking the zone.
There's another line drive, and May bloops one in right center, so he's got his second hit of the game.
And Kevin, this has not really been an easy run for Justin. He's been back and forth a couple different roles. You moved him into the bullpen. He did a tremendous job in an extra innings effort, but sort of kind of been like a yo-yo in terms of his pitch count. I know you're monitoring it closely here tonight, but I think he's handled it pretty well.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And we're going to just watch him, trust what our eyes tell us. And talking with him, communication in between innings, but to make sure we do right by him, because his pitch count has gone up and down a couple of times. But he's done a terrific job. He handles the role no matter what it is. He's just ready to take the ball and compete.
Visiting with Paw Sox manager Kevin Bowles here in the 5th inning as Jason Bourgeois bats with May over at first base. Christian Vasquez working with Mr. Haley tonight. Christian's been back with this club for about a week. You, I know, have always glowing things to say about Christian. What's it been like to have him back here and some of the things that maybe he's working on?
Well, he's done a terrific job so far. His work ethic is, again, he's getting after it. And he's playing with his head up a little bit more. When he first got here from behind the plate, we saw a little bit different as far as his stances, and he's trying to keep his legs underneath him a little bit. And obviously the skill set that he has is terrific. He does a terrific job back there. We want him to take charge of this pitching staff here and then also get the bat going. I know that the offensive focus is something that he's been working on, and he's doing what he needs to do with that.
Bourgeois pops out to short, so there's one out here in the 5th inning.
Kevin, the undisputed leader in the middle of your order all year long has been Chris Marrero, and he got a really neat opportunity down in Charlotte. We knew he was going to be into it going into that event, the Derby, the All-Star game. How neat is it for you as his manager, having seen the work that he put in, to have it bear that kind of fruit?
Well, he's been terrific. He's been a leader in the clubhouse. I think with him and Justin Maxwell, some veteran presence in the clubhouse. But Chris has done a terrific job, and I know he's a little bit older, 27 years old, but again, he's looking forward to becoming a major league ball player again, and that's his main objective. You can see by the performance, people are talking about him, what he did at the All-Star break, at the All-Star game and Home Run Derby. People are paying attention. Catch that, Devin. Throw him out.
Back to first.
There we go.
He did get it.
Yeah, there you go.
How about that?
Yeah, I'll do play-by-play too. Why not?
Great stuff. Hey, Kevin Bowles, thank you so much for the time. And we got another double play for your team.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
We're out of a job. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. 3 double plays for Pawtucket. They trail 2-0. Pawtucket has turned double plays in 3 consecutive innings behind Justin Haley. They trail 2-0 into the bottom of the 5th here at McCoy Stadium. Well, at 85 years young, there's Walpole's own great Joe Morgan. Successful tenure as manager in Boston, also in Pawtucket. It's always great to see him at the park. In fact, one of his former pupils, Rich Gedman, is the hitting coach for the Paw Sox, and they had a great catch-up session, I know, before the game here tonight. Rusney Castillo leading off against Renato. First pitch swinging. And Danny Muno at third base takes care of that. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Joe was beloved in his time here in Pawtucket. There's just no other way to say it. And it's been a rough month for Joe because he lost his wonderful wife, Dottie. So many from the Paw Sox touched by Dottie in her life. And as is so often the case, Josh, with people in this game of baseball, it's just not an easy life. And to have a support system like Dottie gave him to focus on what mattered, give him perspective. They were just as good a couple as you'll ever see.
Devin Marrero, who singled his first time, bluffed a bunt but took a strike. It's 2-0 Charlotte. A lot of the longtime front office staffers here with Pawtucket able to attend that funeral for Dottie Morgan, and all of our condolences continue to go out to Joe Morgan and his entire family. Great to see him here at the yard this evening. We've got a beautiful sunset developing over the left field fence. Marrero hits that one back and out of play. 2 strikes.
And he and Rich Gedman have a lot of connections. One of them, though, is that neither was officially in the longest game when it concluded, because Rich had been pinch hit for in the 9th inning, and Joe early in that game was ejected. The stories of how he took in all those long innings back in 1981, sneaking around from behind home plate in the owner's suite. It's a great tale.
Strike 3 called. A fastball sneaks by Devin Marrero. That's going to be the 4th punch out for the former Paw Sox. Anthony Renato, who has quickly set down the first 2 batters here in the 5th. And that brings up Chris Dominguez. He hit into a double play in his first at bat. If you're just joining us, we've got some AAA Red Sox minor league baseball for you tonight. That one drifting foul on the right field side off the bat of Dominguez. In the radio booth at McCoy Stadium, we call the games, 144 of them each season. I'm Josh Maurer with Will Fleming. You can catch us across the Paw Sox radio network night in and night out. We're happy to be joining you tonight as well, thanks to our friends on NESN. 0-2 on Dominguez. Red Sox back to work in the Bronx tomorrow night after their 4-day All-Star break. It's interesting, Will, that John Farrell had announced before the break that Eduardo Rodriguez would be recalled here from Pawtucket, where he's been for 2 weeks, and start tomorrow. These going to be pushed back to Saturday. That one towards shortstop. Lemon with a backhand makes the play. Marcus Lemon getting Dominguez. And Renato retires the side in order. Stephen Wright, the All-Star, is going to get the start against the Bronx Bombers tomorrow. Back at it in the majors tomorrow. Tonight it's 2-0 Charlotte through 5. Told you it's a beautiful sunset here at McCoy. This is a McCoy special. Well, we go to the 6th inning, and the Paw Sox fans, they've added a special I Love the 80s fireworks show. Tomorrow night, the game begins at 7:05. The pyrotechnics will follow. And in addition, fans will enjoy a series of pre- and in-game promotions themed around the 1980s. For tickets, you can always visit pawsox.com. Well, we go to the 6th. Justin Haley has been aided by 3 double plays. Back for the play-by-play. He loves the 80s. Here's Will Fleming.
Thanks so much, Josh. As Sands drives one into the gap in left center field. And that is going to be extra bases. Jerry cruises into second. And a rude greeting here in the top of the 6th. Well, Josh, in that 3rd inning, when the Knights started to get to Justin Haley, some signs that they were getting better swings, and this 6th inning begins with yet another of them.
A lot of the damage has been done on first pitch. Swings by these Charlotte hitters really first couple of innings, Haley just kept pumping in strike one time and again, and give Charlotte and their coaching staff credit. Make the adjustment. Hey, swing at that first pitch because it's probably going to be a good one.
And a lot of base runners in the last 3 innings and change here as Slade Heathcott, who singled his last time, stands in. First pitch bunted on the first base line. Haley will have only one play at first. It is in time to get Heathcott. A sacrifice moves Sands over to third. So the Knights play a little small ball. Heathcott laid it down beautifully.
This is one of those where you're happy to bunt to get the runner over, but the way that he dragged that ball, was also hoping to get a base hit out of it. Heathcott, who runs well, very nearly did. Took a nice play off the hill from Justin Haley to get him out.
Now the Paw Sox on the left side of the infield are going to come in. Jake Peter, the left-handed hitter, to see Haley. Now Devin Marrero, the shortstop, backpedals a touch. Swing and a foul back, strike one. Well, Josh and I have been alluding to the reports that have been circulating all night long that the Red Sox are closing in on a deal for Drew Pomerantz, and according to the reports, they would send a young 18-year-old Anderson Espinoza out west. 1-for-1 swap. So Dave Dombrowski staying active on the trade market. Made big deals last week. This is the biggest of them all if it's finalized, as the 0-1 is lashed into the upper deck on the left field side, and it's 0-2.
And Pomerantz, a guy who just played for the National League in the All-Star game in his home park in San Diego on Tuesday.
Having a career year.
Espinoza, thought of, as we talked about earlier, as one of the bright young pitching stars, not only in this organization, but really throughout baseball. Age 18.
You hear about an easy delivery, huge velocity. This ball misses upstairs from Haley. It's 1-2. Justin got off to that great start with 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings. But since then has allowed 7 hits, and the pitch count trending upward.
And on this hot night, right-hander Roman Mendez is throwing in the bullpen for the Paw Sox.
1-2 pitch. In the dirt. What a stop by Vasquez. Spike went in there, and Christian gets in front. It's 2-2. Roman Mendez, Josh, of late has been really one of the most valuable relief members for the Paw Sox. He's had a heck of a month. Likely to come into this game in the near future. 2-2. Lined into center field, charging in Lamar. Back to third goes Sands. He will tag. Lamar's throw is up the line. It's a sacrifice fly for Jake Peter. And the Knights manufacture a run. It is 3-0. Strong throw there by Lamar, Josh, but just a little bit up the line. And Sands, who is not the fastest of Knights, able to get home and score.
That was a tough throw for a left-hander. His momentum, as Lamar catches it, you'll see kind of carrying him towards left. So he had to throw basically against the grain back towards home plate to throw tail to the first base side of home. Ryan is a really good outfielder, but that was really a tough chance. Run number 3.
2 down. Here's Rotino. He takes a strike on the outside corner. So we'll wait for the official confirmation if it comes from the Red Sox. But making moves to try to solidify their chances here after the All-Star break. There's another strike from Haley, and it's 0-2. I think everybody had a sense when Dave Dombrowski came over that his history is one that does not shy away from making deals. And 3 trades last week, potentially another big chip today. 0-2 pitch. That's a breaking ball. It misses, and it's 1-2 to Vinny Rotino.
Tomorrow is the deadline to sign draft choices in 2016, and the Red Sox, again, reportedly close to coming to terms with their first-round pick, a big left-hander, Jason Groom.
1-2, low and in. And I think, Josh, there is a lot of speculation that the Red Sox maybe wouldn't have parted with Espinoza if that's the piece that goes to San Diego, if they weren't confident that they could sign Groom. He's apparently in Boston getting checked out. And that would be a big get for the Red Sox to bring him into the fold. The 2-2 bounces in. He's a left-hander with unbelievable stuff, Josh. A guy that as recently as a year ago was projected at the top of the draft. Some signability concerns dropped him further down. A Vanderbilt commit has since switched, and the Red Sox hoping to get him onto their club. Here's a payoff pitch from Haley. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The inning is over. However, Charlotte plays a little small ball after a leadoff double. 5.5 in the books. Knights 3, Paw Sox nothing. Fun night at McCoy as the Paw Sox trailing the Charlotte Knights 3-0. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have our inaugural Hall of Fame class inducted. That is Friday, July 29th. Wade Boggs, Jim Rice, and Ben Mondor, who will be represented by his widow, Madeline. We're going to induct him into the first ever Pawtucket Red Sox Hall of Fame. We got a lot for fans that night. We're going to have a pregame barbecue. You can meet the inductees. Pregame ceremony, Josh, will be around 6:30 before our game with Scranton. 2 Hall of Famers in Jim Rice and Wade Boggs are going to take pictures after the ceremony. It's going to be a heck of a party Friday, July 29th. Ryan Lamar leads off and takes a first pitch strike from Anthony Renato.
What a great idea. There's so much history now with these Paw Sox, and might as well set up a Hall of Fame, and couldn't think of 3 better names to be in that inaugural class. It'll be a fun night coming up at the end of the month with those greats, Rice and Boggs in attendance, and Madeline Mondor.
The 1-1 to Lamar misses outside. If you want to come join that pregame party, tickets are $50. You can get them at our box office or online at pawsox.com. You can also pick up the phone. Call 401-724-7300. That's a game ticket. Meet the Hall of Famers. And an unlimited barbecue as Lamar is hit by a 2-2 pitch. Renato is arguing that Lamar started his swing, but the home plate umpire, Ben May, has signaled that Lamar will be over at first base, and that one sounded like it hurt.
Well, it hit him right in the finger. Now here comes Julio Viñas, the Charlotte manager, saying it also hit the bat. He's arguing I think it should be a foul ball, and that's Ben May, the home plate umpire, saying nope, just hit hands. What do you think as you see that? Boy, it looked like a lot of wrist. That one really hurt Lamar.
You know, some hitters, Josh, will wrap that bottom pinky around the handle of the bat. Lamar is not one of them, and that looked like it just smoked him right on that left pinky. I also don't think that Viñas has a real good case here that he's starting his swing, if that's what he's discussing. That was a very small movement toward the strike zone.
I think maybe part of the discussion, Will, it made such a loud sound. It sounded like a foul ball. So squarely, I think it hit the hand of Ryan Lamar. Good to see that he will stay in this game.
Yeah, that can be scary. There are so many small bones down there, and looks like Lamar is indeed okay. Perhaps a rally starter for Pawtucket. Leadoff hit batter, and here comes Marco Hernandez.
It's one of those where in about 2 or 3 innings, might feel a little bit worse on that hand than it does at the moment for Ryan Lamar, so it's something to keep your eye on.
Here's Hernandez, who is 0 for 2 in his return to the Paw Sox. 3-0 Charlotte here in the bottom of the 6th, and now time is called. You get the feeling that maybe Renato, a little bit frazzled after that long delay. A little bit of an argument from the first-year manager of the Charlotte Knights. Lamar can run. Not going here is almost like a pitch out, misses way outside to Marco Hernandez. They didn't call for that, but Renato missed high and away to Marco Hernandez. For the Paw Sox, Lamar has really picked his spots quite well on the base paths. High fly into shallow left field. Muno, Lemon, and Campana go out, and it's the shortstop, Marcus Lemon, just inside the line to make the play. That's a big first out for Renato. Here comes a man who hit for the cycle on the last road trip, Henry Ramos.
For Renato, now of his 74 pitches, 52 of them have been strikes. More than twice as many strikes than out of the zone. He's been very effective here, pitching on a hill that, well, he's had so much success on earlier in his career.
Here is Ramos. He is struck out and flying out to right. The pitch. Swinging a smash into the gap in left center, but Campana has a beat on it. He'll get there and make the play. So loud contact from Ramos, who needed a base hit in the 9th inning a week ago in Charlotte to become the first Paw Sox hitter in 17 years to go for the cycle. And he accomplished the feat with a bunt down the third base line.
Hey, notice that the third baseman that inning was playing back. He took what the defense gave him. It was a push bunt, batting left-handed, and really all he needed to do was just keep it fair. He was going to have a hit. He kept it fair.
Third baseman that day was Jake Peter. He's playing second tonight here at McCoy. 2 down for Brennan Bosch, who doubled his last time. He takes the first pitch strike. That was a wild road swing. The Paw Sox have the first cycle in 17 years, and on the night that Haley threw in Durham, faced 2 hitters and then a 2-hour rain delay, the Paw Sox took a combined no-hitter deep into the 8th inning. One strike pitch is fouled off by Bosch. 0-2.
Paw Sox were 4 outs away from that combined no-hitter exactly a week ago. It was about midnight when Durham broke it up. Single in the bottom of the 8th against Noe Ramirez with 2 outs.
And Roman Mendez, who is going to come on and pitch in the top of the 7th, was probably the most impressive pitcher that night for the Paw Sox. He was overpowering. Lamar goes, Renato spins, throws to second, and they got it. Ryan Lamar, out of nowhere, just went before Renato moved. He noticed it, and Lamar is caught at second. After 6, Charlotte 3, Pawtucket nothing. Tune in tonight after our coverage for NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Nikki and Dale will have everything you need to know about Day 3 at the Bruins Development Camp, plus the latest on what's next for Tom Brady. That's NESN Sports Today, tonight, after the ball game here at McCoy.
The Supreme Court could be what's next. That's right, the United States Supreme Court, highest in the land.
Justin Haley heads back to the clubhouse, and Roman Mendez, who has just been brilliant of late, comes on to the mound. This will be his 21st appearance, Josh, and those numbers really do not reflect the overall trend for Mr. Mendez, who really has emerged as one of the most dependable arms out of the bullpen for the Paw Sox.
You go back really to the beginning of June. He's given length, long outings. In fact, we saw him a couple of weeks ago here on one of our NESN simulcasts pitch 4 innings. Shutout ball to get a win against Columbus. And brilliant in his last one a week ago against Durham.
Tony Campana takes the first pitch strike.
Went 9 up, 9 down with 5 strikeouts. Last time that he was on the hill.
Good as you can do it. He got a huge arm, does Mendez. Also throws a split finger fastball. There it is. It is fanned, and it's 0-2. It is such a weapon for Mendez, and it's something that he and Bob Kipper have worked hard on. Mendez, who came out of the pen, you can understand on a hot night, maybe a little extra ventilation up top. Straighten things up. He has been overpowering. If he can locate that splitter, combo, a lot like Pat Light with a big fastball, really does play. There's number 1. It missed outside. It's 1-2.
I thought a gutty effort from Justin Haley tonight. Threw 94 pitches on a sticky evening. Gets a quality start, 3 runs in 6. Allowed 7 hits and a walk.
Brilliant start for him. The 1-2 is lined towards second into right field. That's a base hit. Campana has a leadoff knock. Haley struck out 5 in the first 2 innings. He was overpowered. And again, I just don't think you can overstate how difficult it is for a guy like Haley, who started all season at the AA level, to come up here, make 3 starts, then head to the bullpen, have a spot start abbreviated, and then to get back on the mound the way he did tonight. I agree with you, Josh. I think he really battled.
He was helped significantly by the double play ball. 3 of them, and he could have certainly seen his line go a very different way were it not for those twin killings.
This guy Marcus Lemon bounced into one of those. He bluffs the bunt here, takes a fastball down and in for ball 1. 3-0 here in the top of the 7th. Simulcast on NESN and throughout the Paw Sox radio network. Will and Josh live from McCoy. The Sox have their work cut out tonight, trailing by 3. Mendez pumps a fastball on the outside corner, and it's 1-1. Well, while Chris Marrero was starring for the Paw Sox in the Home Run Derby and in the All-Star game down in Charlotte, of course, out west, the Big League All-Star game was a party for the Kansas City Royals. They drove in all the runs in that win as Campana breaks from first. Vasquez throws him out at second. Nice pick there by Devin Marrero. And the leadoff hit is erased.
Well, this is a hit and run that Julio Viñas, the Charlotte manager, puts on with Lemon. But he didn't have a pitch that he could hit. That was up at his eyeballs, so no chance to spoil it. Here again, that fastball, really no chance to make contact. And if you fail to put a ball in play on a hit and run with Christian Vasquez, dead meat at second base, and that was the case there for Campana.
He is so fun to watch catch and throw. 1-2. A comebacker past Mendez. Hernandez has it. He throws to first. Lemon is gone. 2 down, back to the top of the order. The man who's been hot tonight, Jacob May.
One of the interesting things about Marco Hernandez, when he was in the major leagues for the past 2 months, much of his time on the infield came at third base. That's a position he had hardly played in the minors throughout his career. That's where he was needed in Boston, and after, I think most would agree, somewhat of a shaky start there, he made some big plays. Saved a game the other night against the Angels.
So here's May, who has hits his last 2 times. He's scored a run. Swings and fouls one back for strike 1. Yeah, the defense at times has been the part of Marco's game that needs the most work, but he really has bounced around, shown strides. I think the Red Sox are pretty well convinced his bat plays at the big league level. Finding a place for him with the glove is paramount. Mendez is 0-1. Clips the outside corner. Splitter, and it's 0-2.
I think you'd probably agree with me in the about year worth of time that we've watched Marco play. Second base seems to be his most comfortable position. But if you look up in Boston, that's otherwise occupied.
Indeed. The middle infield is pretty well solidified for the Red Sox. Here's an 0-2. And misses low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But his bat, even at the highest level this year, showed that it can be useful. Hey, he played 29 games. He was nearly batting 300.
Yeah, with a little power, too. We've seen that from him. And I think year over year that has continued to increase. He was put on muscle. The one thing about that for Marco is it has not diminished his range, his ability to move and go get baseballs. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. There's that splitter from Mendez. And he works around the leadoff. It's the 7th inning stretch. Bosch, Vasquez, and Whittier next. Knights lead it 3-0. On Sunday, the Paw Sox play Charlotte. Right here, 105. First 3,000 fans that come to the ballpark going to receive a full-color poster of all the former Paw Sox that made it to this year's All-Star game. Stephen Wright, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie, and Jackie. All out there at Petco Park. That keepsake comes compliments of Barrington Printing. Brendan Bosch to lead it off here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-0. Charlotte leading. The Renato still out there. He's been outstanding, allowing just 3 hits, and what a curveball that is to begin things here in the 7th. 0-1 to Bosch. Josh, this is an Anthony Renato that you recognize from 2014.
Especially that curveball. Boy, what a pitch that was for him in a year that he was the pitcher of the year in this league. Made his major league debut with the Red Sox. You know, they thought a lot of him out of LSU, first-round pick. But Anthony became a piece in a trade ultimately. Got the Red Sox Robbie Ross.
Big swing and a miss at a fastball. And it's 0-2. Then this May moved from the Rangers to the White Sox, trying to pitch his way back to the big leagues.
Talked with him in a conversation that our radio audience heard pregame today.
Here's the 0-2 to Bosch, and it's a comeback. Renato plays the second hop and a wide throw off the glove of Jerry Sands. And Bosch is going to be safe. That'll be an error on Renato. I think he played that into an error, Josh, staying back on it rather than charging the first hop. He then had to hurry the throw, and he just hooked it outside of Sands.
And he still would have had Brendan Bosch if he throws it accurately to first base. Wide and somewhat into the runner. See in the replay here, Bosch is still a good 5 steps away from the bag. Renato may have even intentionally took something off that throw. Sometimes when you just kind of lob it over there, you lose the accuracy when you're used to throwing a strike.
So that could be a big break for Pawtucket. Christian Vasquez takes into the right-handed box. He takes outside for ball 1.
I was mentioning, Will, the conversation I had with Renato. Says that some of his greatest friends in baseball are still in this Red Sox organization, and he credits Paw Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper, whom he was with several levels of the minor leagues. He says he's one of the most influential coaches he's had in his life.
1 to Vasquez, and that's something, Josh, you and I hear over and over again. The relationships that Bob has with all of his charges, everyone who comes through, whether it be at Portland or here at Pawtucket. As the bullpen coach for the Red Sox last year, he has really touched a lot of careers. And Bob is the very best in a pitching coach in a number of ways. As Vasquez swings through a 1-1, it's a ball and 2 strikes. It is individualized for each guy. He's got a plan and approach. Sure, there are some fundamentals that he really believes in, but he tailors his approach to each individual guy. He wants you to be you. Focus on what you can do to get outs. I think he really emphasized that curveball with Renato. This is outside, 2-2.
One of the things that Anthony's had to adjust to after his trade from the Rangers to the White Sox is pitching in Charlotte, which has really become kind of the Coors Field of the minor leagues. It is a bandbox of a park. Balls fly out. In fact, the last start he made last weekend, Will, he gave up 4 home runs in 5 innings.
Yeah, and that can happen there. That's a real challenge for the White Sox developmentally. There's the 2-2, and that is a double play, ball to short. Lemon to Peter, back to Sands. Double play. But Josh, just from a mental standpoint, these Charlotte pitchers, in some ways you have to just not even look at the numbers. You got to focus on maybe process more than results, because good pitches are pop-ups that go out of that yard. It is a true bandbox. It really does, I think, put the White Sox in a bit of a tough spot sending guys through there. Here's Jansen Whitty. He takes all off the plate, ball 1.
It is a beautiful park. We were there last week. Got to celebrate July 4th in Charlotte. And the AAA All-Star game was held there just this week. So a lot going on there in uptown Charlotte.
2-0 to Whitty. It's a spectacular place. Great place for a home run derby. Not as much to be on the mound. Parent club of the Knights, the Chicago White Sox, 7 games back in the AL Central behind the Cleveland Indians. Here's a ball off of Renato. It caroms to Lemon. Throws to first. Inning over. The old 1-6-3. Ends the bottom of the 7th. Charlotte leading Pawtucket 3-0. Charlotte leads the Paw Sox 3-0 as we go into the 8th. This is a simulcast on NESN and throughout the Paw Sox radio network. So on the radio side, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Paw Sox radio network. Roman Mendez back to the mound for the top of the 8th, and back to the mic. Here's Josh.
Well, thank you so much, Will. Mendez in his second inning of relief. This is a game in which the Paw Sox have gotten only 3 base hits against Anthony Renato. Jason Bourgeois doubled in a run back in the 3rd. That one swung on and fouled back out of play. We certainly hope that you've had a great Thursday. Thanks for making us a part of it on this special simulcast, and we're so happy to be a part of this partnership here between the Paw Sox Radio Network and our friends at NESN. It's been a lot of fun. We hope that you've enjoyed. Roman Mendez, 0-1 pitch. That's another foul out of play by Bourgeois. The veteran is behind 0-2. The story of the night has been the former Paw Sox, Anthony Renato, starting pitcher for Charlotte with 7 shutout innings. Beginning a 4-game homestand coming out of the AAA All-Star break tonight. Paw Sox and Knights. Now the 0-2. Slider misses up and in for Mendez. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Big League Club back at it tomorrow night, Yankee Stadium. Stephen Wright in a late change will get the start. He did not appear in the All-Star game in San Diego on Tuesday, so Wright gets the ball for John Farrell tomorrow instead. 2-2. Fastball misses inside to Bourgeois. Eduardo Rodriguez is still on the Pawtucket roster. He had made a couple of starts after being optioned by Boston, but he is, as announced by the Sox, going to go up and pitch Saturday. We saw an improved Eddie. I think there's no question about that, Will. Bourgeois into right center. A long run for Lamar coming in. Ryan Lamar makes the sliding catch. Good speed closing in on a sinking line drive by Jason Bourgeois.
Good night for snow cone. That's what Lamar has here, as he so often does. Makes a brilliant running grab, and he just barely keeps it in the webbing of that glove.
Looked like it wanted to pop out, didn't it? Lamar got hit in the hand with a pitch a couple of innings ago. Figure that's not feeling too good out there, but he's staying in and making plays.
Kind of shaking that hand around a little bit. But I agree with you, Josh. Eddie was much better here in Pawtucket, and I think in particular, and probably most importantly, the fastball. Not only the life, but the command of that pitch. When he wanted to throw strikes with a fastball, he did so with authority.
Danny Muno bats with 1 out here in the 8th. That one skied into left field. Brennan Bosch drifting underneath, looking up into the bright night sky. Bright with these lights on at McCoy, and Bosch puts away the 2nd out of the inning. First start after he was optioned. Erod pitched 7 shutout innings. He got shortened by rain his next outing. The Red Sox needed another guy, and so up he'll go. A name that Paw Sox fans are very familiar with. Made his big league debut a year ago. Brian Johnson, trying to make his way back from an extended absence for personal reasons. He's on the comeback trail, pitching in Lowell. He's pitched in the Gulf Coast League a couple of times. Jerry Sands swings through that first pitch fastball, and it's 0-1.
I liked what Dave Dombrowski said the other day, Josh, when talking about the trade market. Now, it seems that Dave has made a deal for a starting pitcher today to be finalized before long. But he said that we think that there's no one more talented that we could get on the market than Eduardo Rodriguez. And certainly given the way that he pitched last year, that rings true.
1-1 on Sands, who doubled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Guy was in the big leagues for the White Sox for the first 2 months of the year. Power from the right side. 1-1 is high. 2-1. Joe Kelly being transitioned into a relief role. He's coming back from a groin injury. Kelly was pitching some of the lower levels of the minors in a rehab assignment. He's back with Pawtucket. Available out of the bullpen here tonight. 2-1. Swing and a miss. Good hard fastball. 2-2. 2 out in the 8th of a 3-0 Charlotte lead.
Coach Joe, get into a game before long for the Paw Sox. You can be sure of that.
Could be a little strange for Joe to be sitting out in a bullpen again. 2-2 pitch. That's out of play. Fastball spoiled by Jerry Sands. He's been a starter for so long in recent years.
You know, one of the things I like about Joe, Josh, is that he's open to it. He likes that challenge coming out of the pen, just letting it all hang out. And the fastball breaking stuff combo for him, it absolutely profiles as a guy who could help in that Boston pen.
Kind of a warm night for the sweatshirts, don't you think?
Those pitchers, they protect the arms at all costs.
2-2, 2 out. Mendez to Sands. Got him swinging. High heat from Roman Mendez. He sets down the Knights in order in the 8th. Pawtucket looking to rally. Renato will get an 8th inning, leading 3-0. Fans looking for affordable family fun. Why not head down to McCoy Stadium and catch a Paw Sox game? The Paw Sox welcome in Rochester and Scranton Wilkes-Barre for a 7-game homestand coming up in about 2 weeks. July 25th and into the end of the month, the 31st. Again, that's Rochester and Scranton, end of the month. For more information and to get your tickets, you can visit pawsox.com. Rusney Castillo takes a strike from Anthony Renato. Rusney has one of the 3 hits. It was an opposite field bounding ball that found a spot for a single. I think 2 the count. That was the 90th pitch for the 26-year-old right-hander out of New Jersey. The bullpen is up and working for the Knights as Castillo fouls one back. It remains 0-2. The big news of the night, a couple of big reports. You see Pat Light heating it up in the Pawtucket pen. First report is that the Red Sox working on a trade for San Diego starting pitcher Drew Pomerantz. Foul and wickedly up into the seats. Still 2 strikes on Rusney. The other that has made its way across the internet is that the Red Sox may have agreed to a deal in principle with their first-round pick, Jason Groom, just about 24 hours before the deadline. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. 0-2. Again out of play off the bat of Castillo. Groom was thought of as one of the top prospects in the entire draft. We talked about it earlier. Were it not for some signability concerns, he may have been in the top 3.
There's no question he's got probably the best stuff in the draft.
On the ground to second, Rusney hit it hard, but right at Jake Peter, 1 out.
And he's the kind of guy, now that the Red Sox appear to have him in the fold, I mean, you can dream big about him. And Josh, I just really do think that those 2 news items, those reports are linked together. I think that the Red Sox had to feel very confident that they were going to bring Groom in. If they were willing to trade Anderson Espinosa, if the reports are accurate, if that deal gets finalized. So it's a big day for the Red Sox. If these things come true, you add a big piece to the rotation and you bring your first-round pick into the fold. There's cause for celebration up there.
Devin Marrero also has a hit tonight. He's 1 for 2. And he takes it low from Renato, who approaches 100 pitches, working with a 3-0 lead. 2-0. Talked to a scout who told me that Jason Groom may be the best high school pitching prospect since Clayton Kershaw. Pretty good company. That one into right. Play for Jason Bourgeois, 2 out here in the 8th inning.
You know, Josh, one of the things about Groom, when you read all these scouting reports, and even if you watch some video on him, things you'll see from high school pitchers, either great stuff or a smooth, easy delivery. It is incredibly rare that you see the combination of that. And that's what Groom has. Big, tall lefty who throws very hard, but not in a max effort kind of way. He has a silky smooth delivery from that left side.
Chris Dominguez, the last hope in the 8th for Pawtucket, takes ball 1. And Groom, like 2 men currently out on the field, Anthony Renato and Pat Light in the bullpen. They're Garden State natives. from New Jersey. Dominguez to third, a ball right at Danny Muno. Throw across in time to get Dominguez and Anthony Renato with 8 shutout innings in his return to McCoy Stadium. It's 3-0. Charlotte. We have reached the 9th inning at McCoy Stadium, and Pat Light takes over on the hill for the Paw Sox. Become the 3rd pitcher used by Kevin Bowles tonight. The numbers at AAA for Mr. Light, simply outstanding, and he's been in quite the groove. In 21 outings, a 1.98 earned run average, got his 6th save in as many opportunities leading into the All-Star break Sunday evening in Durham. Fortunately for Pat, in a couple of big league appearances, it hasn't gone according to plan, so back here in AAA. Light replaces Ramon Mendez, who pitched 2 scoreless innings.
I think that was a really big outing for Light to get back in the saddle. It'd been 8 days since he got hit so hard by the LA Angels, and he was his normally dominant self down in Durham.
Slade Heathcott fouls off the first pitch. Heathcott is 1 for 2, a single. He is also sacrificed.
But Josh, I really do believe that Ramon Mendez is pitching himself into consideration. I mean, he has just been absolutely dominant here over the last month plus, and the thing about it is it's overpowering stuff. I mean, he's got the big arm, he's got the good splitter, and he absolutely has got to be in some conversations.
1-1 on Heathcott. Splitter up and away, 2-1. That, if you haven't seen Pat Light, is the #1 pitch. Split-fingered fastball that he'll use interchangeably with a mid to high 90s four-seam fastball. On the ground, foul, 2-2 the count. It's a combination that makes it so tough to hit.
Yeah, sort of like that. 96 right out of the hand. He will command the splitter. That's sort of what makes Pat so unique, is that a lot of guys have split finger pitches, but they often don't quite know where they're going. That's just not the case with Pat. He throws that thing for strikes more than anybody.
2-2. Splitter misses away, and it is a full count. Charlotte scored 2 in the 3rd and added on a run in the 6th. Pawtucket just 3 base hits. The payoff pitch to Heathcott, way inside, went with the fastball, and it was not close. So it's a leadoff base on balls for Pat Light. Pat is working on 14 straight scoreless innings here in AAA, and that dates all the way back to the middle of May. So Charlotte trying to add on to a 3-run lead. Jake Peter will come up. He drove in a run with a sacrifice fly back in the 6th. Swing and a miss. Back to the fastball for Light. 0-1 the count.
We know all the changes, Josh, that the Red Sox have taken at the top level of their organization. Dave Dombrowski. One of the big guys that he's brought in is Brian Bannister. He's now taken on more of an on-field type role.
Splitter fools Mr. Peter. He looked very uncomfortable on that swing. It's 0-2.
And I know Pat Light is a guy with whom Brian has worked a lot, and they're just trying to find the mix that plays the best at the big league level. And that has a lot to do with the ratios of fastballs and splitters that Pat throws up there.
0-2. That split blocked by Vasquez out of the dirt. Well done by Christian to keep the runner in place.
And I think his last outing at the big league level is probably a reminder that sometimes up there it doesn't matter how hard you throw. Those guys can turn that stuff around. And so you're trying to find that balance, and Pat has the stuff to succeed up there. It's just a matter of tinkering a little bit and finding that balance.
1-2 on Peter. Splitter swung on and missed. Such a devastating pitch when Light gets ahead in the count. He buried that one to get his first strikeout and the first out here in the 9th inning. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, he just sets him up for that splitter when he's ahead in counts. The thing just dives out of the zone. Really no chance there for Peter. I think there's a lot of conversations about how to get ahead in counts. Other starting hitters off with the splitter.
Now Vinny Rotino, 36-year-old veteran, takes ball one.
But they've got the highest of hopes for Pat. I mean, this is a guy that profiles the back end of a big league bullpen. These guys are not falling out of trees. They can throw 100 and command a split finger pitch.
Rotino 0 for 3, including 2 strikeouts. 2 balls and no strikes. Paw Sox in Charlotte playing the next 3 nights. 3 nights and then a day on Sunday here at McCoy. Over the weekend, some big promotions. We've talked about it throughout the broadcast. 1980s themed fireworks tomorrow. Mookie Betts replica jersey giveaway on Saturday. And the Paw Sox All-Star poster giveaway on Sunday. We hope to see you at the park, and I know the weather is going to be warm and nice. 2-0, and it's inside. 3 balls, no strikes on Rotino.
You know, Josh, we talked a lot about ballparks and studies and commissions tonight as the Paw Sox try to improve this home and think about the future. I can tell you that over the last month or so, as the weather has gotten better, as this place fills up, you do get to sense some of that McCoy magic. And when it's crowded in here, there are few places more fun to catch a ball game. So we hope you'll join us this weekend, because I think you'll get a real sense of that.
3-0 and ball 4. Second walk of the inning by Light. Rotino takes 4 straight out of the strike zone. Heath got up to second. 3-0 Knights, and that brings up Tony Campana. This Paw Sox team has been playing good baseball too. Winners of 8 of their past 14 going into the All-Star break. In the thick of a wild card playoff race in the IL, and just about 50 games remaining here in the AAA season.
It's so crazy, the disparity in the divisions in the IL this year, where Charlotte comes in 8 games below and in first place. The Paw Sox 3 above, and they're way back in their division. And that's why you have a wild card. But it's just amazing how the competitive imbalance in the league.
Well, now 5 straight have missed. And before the 1-0 pitch on Campana, Paw Sox pitching coach Bob Kipper pops out of the dugout. He's going to pay Pat Light a visit on the hill.
And this is another one of those chats, Josh. We know that Bob thinks very long and hard before taking a trip to the mound like this. He knows what he's going to say. And in this situation, a guy with whom he's got a lot of history in Pat, just some words of encouragement, slow it down a little bit, get back into the groove.
Bob will tell you, he knows, having been a pitcher himself, he knows pitchers don't like it when the pitching coach comes out. That misses away, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. So he really does try to minimize it, and make it effective when he does go out there. You can imagine if you're Pat Light, the last thing you want to do is see the game stop to have your pitching coach come pay you a visit. Ooh, outside on a fastball to Campana, so it's 3-0, and Light in danger of walking the bases loaded. Kevin Bowles, Paw Sox manager, joined us earlier in the broadcast. There's a strike from Light. Snaps a streak of 7 out of the zone consecutively.
Pretty nice when you fall behind 3-0. You don't know where it's going, and you fire a 97-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees.
3-1 into left field. A tough play for Bosch, sliding towards the line and made the catch. The runners will stay put. Brandon Bosch makes a diving play for out number 2.
Second great grab in as many innings for a Paw Sox outfielder, Josh. Bosch racing toward the line. I think there's no doubt if he does not get there, the Knights are going to add to their lead, but cat-like in left field for Bosch.
And here's Marcus Lemon. That certainly helps out Pat Light. Lemon is 1 for 3 with a run scored. Into right field for a base hit on a hard hop. Here's Castillo coming up, throwing to the plate. Heathcott slides in, and he beats the tag. Just underneath the glove of Vasquez for Slade Heathcott. And Charlotte tacks on run number 4. What a throw from Rusney Castillo. He did everything he could, but it's an RBI single for Lemon.
Yeah, strong throw from Rusney. I think the fact that it was just a touch up the first base line meant that Vasquez had to lunge for it and then dive back toward the plate. And I think that split second is probably what cost the Paw Sox the opportunity to throw Heathcott out. A bang-bang play. Committed to it all the way. Really nice effort by Vasquez, but he got him on the knee right when the foot was on the plate.
It's a really good slide there by Slade Heathcott to give Charlotte an insurance run. So here's Jacob May. He's 2 for 4 out of the top of the order. Runners on first and second. And a splitter for a strike to May.
You could see that splitter coming, Josh, because it looked like both Campana and Lemon were sitting first pitch fastball, and they both made pretty solid contact.
That was the first run Pat Light has allowed at AAA for 2 months just about. And one bounced in there and Vasquez blocks it. 1 ball and 1 strike. So a 4-0 game. Charlotte does have bullpen activity, which means the night for Anthony Renato is likely finished. A right-hander is warming.
That's all we can tell you. Knights made some changes before the ball game. They have not updated numbers and rosters.
You know, we've got folks all over the ballpark sleuthing for the correct information. Welcome to minor league baseball, folks. 1-2 on May. Number 30 getting ready to pitch. 2 on, 2 out. The 1-2 spoiled out of play. Nice job by Jacob May to get a piece of the splitter there from Pat Light. Well, number 30 is all hot and ready.
Looks like a very sturdy right-hander.
Charlotte added a few pitchers before the game today. Ryan Webb was one, Chris Beck another. Those would be my 2 guesses. 1-2 is up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Spin the wheel.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. A run in the 9th. That's a play for Devin Marrero at short. Slick with the glove. Down to field. And the throw to first in time to retire Jacob May. So Light minimizes the damage, but Charlotte tacks on a run. Paw Sox will need 4 to tie. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Mystery man has an identity. It's the right-hander Chris Beck taking over on the hill for Charlotte, trying to finish a shutout in behind Anthony Renato. It's 4-0 now, the Knights, and the Paw Sox batting with the top of the order here in the 9th inning against Beck. Now those numbers that you see for Beck, very good for the most part with Charlotte. He's also made 6 appearances in the big leagues for the White Sox. That did not go so well. He had an 8.10 big league ERA and just got options on the final day before the All-Star break. So back he comes. Got a different uniform number, presumably. And here comes Ryan Lamar to lead things off for Pawtucket. Well, Will Fleming, what a night for Anthony Renato. And his turn to return to McCoy Stadium. 8 shutout innings with just 3 hits allowed.
He was tremendous. I mean, he was ahead in counts. He threw everything for strikes. And in the rare occasion he got into trouble, he made a big pitch. That was the 3rd inning where he got the big double play off the bat of Chris Dominguez. He was just brilliant tonight.
Of his 99 pitches, 70 were strikes. So now it's Beck. Lamar is 0 for 1. He's also walked and been hit by a pitch. Towards second base, 2 steps to the left for Jake Peter. Picks up the second hop, and Lamar is out number 1. Jake Peter has been impressive with the glove tonight over there at second.
Charlotte sort of looks like a different team than the one we saw down in North Carolina. Swung the bats well tonight. Made a ton of plays defensively. Steve Beck is a guy who Made his big league debut a year ago. That was September call-up for the White Sox. Yet to figure it out at the highest level.
So here's Marco Hernandez, who's 0 for 3 in his return to Pawtucket. Beck delivers a strike. We've talked a lot tonight about the rumors circulating around the Red Sox possibly making a trade, possibly coming to an agreement with their highly touted first-round draft choice, Jason Gould. Red Sox have just announced that at 10 o'clock this evening, team president Dave Dombrowski will hold a conference call with the media. 0-1, and Beck misses low. Stay tuned after we're done. Later on this evening, NESN Sports Today will have all the information and coverage of what Dave Dombrowski has to say. What may or may not be announced this evening, we've got it for you coming up on the television side. NESN Sports Today is later on. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 88 on the stadium radar gun there from Chris Beck.
Perfect timing. You catch Paw Sox baseball in the evening, and then perhaps as the Red Sox make a big announcement, folks back home in the studio can break it all down.
Beck really with his first big league action for the White Sox this year. He misses outside with that fastball, 2-2. The guy that Chicago drafted out of Georgia Southern in the second round, 2012. Marco Hernandez was hitting .295 in the major leagues this year, and he played in 29 games. Now the 2-2. Swing and a miss. 96-mile-an-hour heat. Beck goes up the ladder, and Charlotte is 1 out away from a 3-hit shutout. I don't know how you catch up to this. This is pretty good stuff up in the zone.
Yeah, just changed the sight line and could not lay off. A frustrating night for the Pawtucket hitters.
And you do wonder how much a 3-day All-Star break layoff these guys were able to disperse. Many fortunate enough to go spend some time with families at home. It's, I would think, tougher for the hitters to come back and have the timing than it is for the guys who have pitched. Ramos is 0 for 3. He tries to keep the game going. 4-0 Charlotte here in the ninth. Breaking ball hit back out of play, and it's 0-1. Paw Sox tonight gave Chris Marrero, their team leader in so many offensive categories, a very well-deserved night off, traveling back today from the AAA All-Star festivities, in which he took home a lot of hardware. It's been a big absence from the middle of the order. The 0-1. That, if you believe the stadium radar gun, was 100 miles an hour. Even the Marrero's in disbelief on that one.
A little more velo than he faced in that home run derby. Cousins, best friends, and teammates here in Pawtucket.
Imagine Chris will be back in the lineup tomorrow night. The top star for the IL in that AAA All-Star game. 0-2. Breaking ball inside. Sometimes you have varying degrees of reliability on these in-stadium radar guns, but that may have been the first time I've ever seen the one at McCoy register triple figures. Previous pitch said 100 on the dot. Chris Beck's 1-2. Got him swinging in the dirt, so Ramos will get to run, but Rotino takes care of him, and it's a 3-hit shutout for the Charlotte Knights. Pretty devastating stuff for Beck. And what a return to McCoy for the former Red Sox first-round pick, Anthony Renato. 8 scoreless. The Knights open this 4-game series with a 4-0 victory. Well, for those of you on the television side, that'll do it for our coverage here of Boston Red Sox minor league baseball. Our producer, Brian Cicello, director, Dan Aspen. We thank everybody on the crew and everybody in the truck. For Will Fleming, this is Josh Maurer. Thanking you so much for tuning in. After the break, it's the 2016 Red Sox Hall of Fame induction ceremony already joined in progress. Thanks for watching.